"Mom, there's a baby on the porch." Those were the words that changed everything. It was a cold evening in a quiet neighborhood in Ohio. Sarah Miller had just finished washing the dinner dishes when her 10-year-old son Jake ran into the kitchen with wide eyes and a shaky voice. At first, Sarah thought he was joking. A baby on the porch? That made no sense. But the fear and excitement on Jake's face told her he wasn't playing. Sarah slowly walked to the front door, her heart beating faster with every step. When she opened it, the cold wind rushed inside the house. And there it was, a small basket sitting right beside the door. Inside the basket was a tiny baby girl wrapped in a thin blanket. She wasn't crying. She was just quietly moving her little hands and staring up at the night sky with wide, curious eyes. Sarah froze for a moment, shocked and confused. She quickly looked around the street hoping to see someone, but the neighborhood was silent. No cars, no footsteps, no sign of whoever left the baby behind. Her first reaction was panic. She grabbed her phone and called 911 immediately. Within minutes, police officers and an ambulance arrived at the house. The paramedics carefully checked the baby and confirmed she was healthy, probably only a few weeks old. There was no note, no name, and nothing that could explain why someone had left her there. But something unusual happened that night. When one of the paramedics gently tried to take the baby from Sarah's arms, the little girl suddenly started crying loudly. The moment Sarah held her again, the baby stopped instantly and became calm. Everyone noticed it. One of the officers smiled and said, "Looks like she already trusts you." Sarah tried to smile back, but inside her chest something deeper was happening, something she hadn't felt in years. Sarah had been a single mother for a long time. Her husband had died in a car accident when Jake was only 2 years old. Since then, life had been a constant struggle of long work hours, paying bills, and doing everything she could to give her son a stable life. Love, for her, had slowly turned into responsibility and sacrifice. She rarely had time to think about herself. But holding that baby for those few moments made her feel something different, something warm and peaceful. It felt like her heart suddenly had more space than she ever realized. That night, the authorities took the baby to the hospital while Child Services started searching for her parents. Days turned into weeks, but no one came forward. During that time, Sarah couldn't stop thinking about the baby. Surprisingly, Jake couldn't stop thinking about her either. Almost every night at dinner, he asked the same question, "Mom, what happened to the porch baby?" One afternoon, Sarah finally decided to visit the hospital. When the nurse brought the baby into the room, something incredible happened. The moment the little girl saw Sarah, her face lit up and she reached her tiny arms forward as if she recognized her. The nurse looked surprised and softly said, "She remembers you." That moment hit Sarah deeply. For the first time in years, she felt needed in a way she hadn't felt before. A few weeks later, the authorities confirmed that no relatives had been found, and the baby would soon enter the foster care system. That night, Sarah sat quietly at the kitchen table thinking about everything. She knew raising another child would not be easy. It would mean more responsibilities, more expenses, and more sleepless nights. But Jake suddenly said something that changed everything. He looked at his mom and said, "Mom, maybe she came to the wrong house, but the right family." Sarah looked at her son and realized something powerful. Sometimes love doesn't arrive the way we expect. Sometimes it appears suddenly, in the most unexpected moments, when life feels completely ordinary. 3 months later, Sarah officially began the adoption process. The little girl was given the name Lily. Slowly, the house that once felt quiet and heavy with old memories started to fill with new laughter and life again. There were late nights with bottles, tiny footsteps running across the living room, and Jake proudly teaching his little sister how to clap and laugh. Years later, Sarah often sat on the same porch where everything had started. One evening, Lily, now 5 years old, ran outside and wrapped her arms tightly around her mom. "Mommy, I love you," she whispered. Sarah smiled with tears in her eyes because she finally understood the truth. That night years ago, she thought she was helping a helpless baby, but in reality, that little girl had brought love, healing, and joy back into her life. If this story touched your heart, Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more powerful and emotional stories like this. And tell me in the comments, do you believe some people come into our lives for a special reason?